So hi, Brian.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, good, thanks. You're here to show off a new synthesizer concept you've come up with, right?
Yeah. This is a synthesizer called Paradigm, and I've been working on it for about 5 years. And I was never going to design a synthesizer because I didn't think that there was anything that was really new that I could contribute to the industry. I thought every kind of possible way to make a sound and every kind of sound that you'd ever want, I thought it had already been done. So Paradigm, though, is something that came about after I went to a website for a new kind of chip, relatively new kind of chip, because they've been around for about 10 years, that you can instantiate an analog circuit onto the chip programmatically. So what that means is that you can have the microprocessor that's inside a Paradigm. What it does at any given point in time is it says, okay, be a VCO or be a VCF or put in this kind of analog circuit. Anything that is an op-amp based circuit, which most analog synthesizer circuits are, is what Paradigm can put on one of the 4 chips in its analog array.
So it is an analog synth, yeah?
At its heart, it is. Now, there are certain things that you can also do on the digital end as well. So, for example, on the front end, if you want Paradigm to be on the front end, you can also have digital oscillators as well, because there's a 216 megahertz RISC processor that can also be used for generating oscillators and doing delaying for some of the digital effects. On the back end, so you can have like digital delay post after the sound.
So unfortunately, this isn't a working prototype, right? So we can't actually hear it. But
it was a working prototype in Denver. Unfortunately, when it arrived in in Los Angeles, it's a hand-built prototype. This one is, and so when you have 176 pin QFP packages that you're hand soldering, moving it around too much isn't always the best thing. It's usually best left on your desktop when you're there.
So do you want to just talk about a little bit about the structure of the synth, like kind of how it's built in terms of how you would use it?
Sure. Well, I think maybe a good thing to kind of demonstrate. First of all, what's central to the board is this button right here that says Circuit. And so the circuit is the first thing that whenever you create a new patch is what's going to define what's going on with all these other sections. So you have this area that says oscillator, and this area that says filter and amp, and you're going to notice on each one it has a select button for each. And so the type of circuit that you select, suppose that you might have like the first circuit that we've been working on, which is a 3 oscillator plus filter plus amp section, something that's akin to like the layout of a mini Moog. And so because you have 3 oscillators, you'll be able to select one of 3. But that may change if you go with a polyphonic synthesizer that you're going to have 2 oscillators for. So then you would, so each one of these is going to vary the number of oscillators, filters, and amps. Suppose now, if you were to remove this keyboard, and I think this is kind of an important point to make that I kind of forget to point out. If you forget that the keyboard is there, then Paradigm is also an analog signal processor. So, so you have an audio in and audio out. You also have an SPDIF in and an SPDIF out, so that you can be processing, so you can be using the analog chips as well as what's going on the main RISC processor as a signal processor to do live DJ effects, or if you're a producer in the studio and you want to be able to have like an amp that can give you overdrive and tube emulation, that's the other thing that you can do.
So do you kind of know the limits of like where you could take it yet, in terms of like the different kind of layout, different like circuits that you can make in it? We've got 30-year-old technology that has defined stuff that we still haven't found the limits of today. In terms of what all the modular guys are they're doing that are surrounding me. They're still exploring things that got started with Bob Moog 30 years ago, which is really exciting. This, I think, is just maybe kind of a refresher now that gives us something new to play with and some new exciting possibilities of things that we haven't explored before. What if we could
what if we can redefine analog circuitry in real time in a musical way? And I think that, I'm just excited to be able to take these chips and put it in a neato synthesizer that other people will probably explore what the real potential of that is. And it'll probably also give me ideas of, hey, why don't you try a circuit like this, and we'll add it to the library. This is going to be firmware upgradable. So by all means, once this is launched, I'm sure that it's going to be other people that are going to be able to really define where this ultimately is going to be able to go.
So when are you hoping to have it ready and available?
Well, there's going to be a Kickstarter project that's going to start in about a week and a half to 2 weeks, and delivery. I'm hoping is going to be about 6 months from then, because we already have we're on the second generation of circuit boards, and this is the very first enclosure, which is not, we have to figure out manufacturing. We've been talking to 2 different manufacturers about what it's actually going to take to be able to stamp these things out for mass production. And there's going to be an evaluation of the design for manufacturability, which you have to go through first in order to be able to make sure that you didn't put like 2 capacitors next to each other too close, and little things like that. So we're figuring that we'll be able to start, setting them off in about 6 months.
And what is the price point you're kind of hoping to aim for?
Right about $12.50 right now is what we think.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much. Look forward to seeing more from it.
Thank you very much, and I hope you guys enjoy Sonicstate.